I'm Shannon Dadlas, and you're here at the fourth grade prep party, and we're going to help guide you through some of your materials that need some extra preparation. Before we get started, you're just going to need some regular classroom supplies. And so if you're sitting at your desk, you want to grab the following things. You're going to need some scissors. You need a pencil, nice sharpened pencil. It's a tool. You're going to need a ruler that has centimeters on it. And you might want Post-it notes and some sentence strips. Okay. You might want to pause this recording so you can gather those things, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so now that you're back, let's go ahead and start thinking about, what we need to do for all of this. The first thing I want to do is address the elephant in the room. Yes, the elephant in the room, otherwise known as your science kits. Okay, so this are all of the materials that fourth grade received for their science stuff. And your first thought was probably, look at all this stuff. Okay, well, I want you to change that thought into, look at all this magical stuff I didn't have to buy. And if I just had a couple boxes for my previous science stuff, imagine how much fun the kids are going to have in here. So let's take a look at these things. First thing, you will notice that they will say drawer 1 of 8, drawer 2 of 8, 3 of 8, etc. And that they have all of these listed for what's inside the drawers. That's really important. Your helpers are going to be able to help you get things out of the drawers. It's going to help you put things back. And so you don't want to take everything out of the drawers and reorganize it. These drawers have a barcode. Each one of these drawers is checked out to you. And so this is your set, and we don't want to swap it with anybody else. Okay? That being said, just to make it easier, you might want to go ahead and put your name on these drawers, each and every drawer. Got my name on each and every drawer now, so that if it gets moved or shifted or placed somewhere else, they know who to give it back to. Okay? So you've got all these drawers, all this stuff. You're going to want to make sure you open up those drawers, make sure that it really says what's in there. You will be able to need to do an inventory on these just to double check that there was nothing broken when it was shipped to you. If you did find that something got broken or left out, if it's broken, take it back to your librarian, and your library media assistant, your LMA, will send that back to the warehouse. Reach out to us. We'll get it replaced just as soon as possible. Okay. And that way you can just go on and continue teaching with your full kit that you won't need to do anything else with, for years and years. Okay. Next thing is that you also have other boxes too. You've got this box. This contains these foam ramps. They're already pre-cut, so you don't have to cut them. I was so excited to see they were pre-cut. And the kids are going to have so much fun rolling some marbles down those things. Make sure you get your name on those also, so that those are your set. You've got boxes of books. You have your investigation guide. We call it investigation guide because you're going to be guiding students through their investigations and their experiments. It's all about figuring out, not just learning about. And you should have your student books with theirs in English or Spanish. You also have a big gray milk crate-like box, and that's really heavy because that contains your rocks and your gravel that you're going to need after the holidays. And you just want to set that aside. That's all consumable. Please remember, all of your consumables will be replaced for you in year 3. Okay, so now let's start de-stressing. I know you think I'm crazy, but really, let's start de-stressing. As I look at my drawers and I'm seeing that, wow, drawer 2 says that it's unique to senses and survival. That's life science. We're not doing life science this year. We're doing a phased rollout. And so we're not going to be using that drawer this year. I'm going to put it to the side. There might be a place to store that, maybe in a cabinet, above a cabinet, in a closet. Drawer 3 of 8, also census and survival. Oh, I don't need that one. Okay, we'll come back to that one next year. Huh, looking better already. This one, drawer 4 of 8, says unique to soils, rocks, and landforms. We're not going to do that till January. So I'm going to set that one off to the side too. I'll be using that in January. So I'm not going to put that like in one storage. But that one, oh, drawer 5 of 8, also soils, rocks, and landforms. Yep, that one's going to go off to the side too. All right. Oh, what's this one? Let's take a look here. I'm going to give you a close-up of some of these now. So this one says drawer 1 of 8, and this is equipment shared across modules. So this contains posters for science, safety, and these are things that you're going to be using for all kinds of things across the modules. So this drawer is going to stay in your room. Drawer 6, equipment unique to energy. And again, in alphabetical order, it has everything that you need in here. Drawer 6 will stay in my room. And drawer 7, do I have drawer 7 lined up? There we go. Sorry about that. Drawer 7 also contains everything that we need for energy. And then there's drawer 8. Drawer 8 is our consumable items. We're going to need this in our classroom all the time. And everything that's in here for drawer 8 is all going to be replaced for you at the end of 3 years. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling some things out of here that we're going to need to be able to prep. And what we want to do is use our teacher's guide so we know what to do with that. This is where you might want to grab your Post-it notes, help you out a little bit. The first thing I want to make sure that you know of are all your tabs here. In your materials tab, you can be doing this online or you can be doing it with your physical book. In the materials tab, on page 22, is the equipment list for everything that are in all your boxes. Might be nice to make a copy of that, cut that out, hand it to a pair of students, say, count it all, make sure it's all there, make sure it's not broken, and they check it off to make sure that they've got it. So you want to make sure, double check you have all that. Let's take a look at investigation 1 and see what we need to prepare in advance. Investigation 1, we have our at a glance. This is what we use to set up our sessions in the pacing guide that you will find on your Essential Standards Scope and Sequence. Make sure we gave extra time available for parent-teacher conferences and Red Ribbon Week. I'm going to go to page 38. Page 38 has the purple heading and it says materials. So let's take a look at page 38 now. You'll notice it doesn't tell you what drawer it's in. Part of the reason it does not do that is because FOSS sells these drawers in different ways. They can buy one module at a time. That triples the number of drawers that you have because you always have first drawer and the consumable drawer instead of all at once. Or you can buy it as a grade level set for the whole year. Or you can buy it to be shared. So the way that we bought it, we're going to take a look at the numbers, and I suggest you grab your pencil now so we can write it down. That way next year you're not going, oh, what drawer was that in? So for each drawer, we're going to need a couple things, and it tells us what we need. So we're going to need a couple things. We're going to need to get our D cells, and that's a consumable thing, so I know it's in drawer 8. So I'm going to come over here to drawer 8. I'm going to open it up. Pulls out nicely so I don't have to like lift anything. Ooh, and I see way in the back of drawer 8 is this white box. Oh, that's very nice because it says right on it, batteries, D cell. That's exactly what I was looking for. So we're going to need to take our D cell batteries. And we're just going to need to take out 2 of them for right now. So once I have my 2 batteries, set them on my prep table there, and I'm going to put these back into that same drawer, pretty much in the same location. I like packed my Origami Masters, so I always want to make sure I get in the same spot. When I look there, I also see that I need a large flashlight. I read my list. And there we go, flashlight large, flashlights small. I need the flashlights large. That's in drawer 6. So I just wrote that down in my book. Oh, there it is. Closes very easily. And I write down drawer 6. Okay. I also need light bulbs out of drawer 6. So I'll open up drawer 6. We're not going to prep these, but I want to show you what they look like. They actually say miniature lamps. Okay, we don't need to do anything with these for advanced prep. Just wanted to show you what they looked like for right now. Okay. We're also going to need to prep some wires. So we need short wires that's made out of 20 gauge wire. Gauge is how we measure wire. Gauge means how thick it is. And so this is 20 gauge wire. It's found in drawer 7. It says wire 20 gauge. And I'm going to need to pull that out. It's red wire. I recommend that in your teacher's guide, you write red wire. I'm not an electrician, and so sometimes you're like, what's the gauge of wire? It's unusual. The higher the number, the thinner the wire. We're going to be using with 20 gauge wire, this red wire. And we also need to get out our wire stripper. And our wire stripper is also located in drawer 7. Oh, there it is, behind the corks. So we have our wire stripper. All right. So now that we have all of our things, we're going to be ready to start working on our prep here. All right. So we have these. We're going to be using these for our second lesson to start our focus question. Do not put the batteries in the flashlight. They're just there for demo. That's what's set off to the side. Okay. So now I got to find out what I'm doing with all this stuff. So I'm going to do that. When I turn the page, I see an orange section that says getting ready. And this tells me everything that I might need to do to get ready. And the nice thing, it'll have pictures in case you weren't sure what that wire strip will look like or something. It says get out our word wall. Marvelous, we've done that. The word wall cards were given to you at training, right? I have some sentence strips ready to go here to support my EL learners. And we're going to be working to prepare the connecting wires. So each pair of students needs 2 wires. That's like each student gets a wire, right? And so we're going to cut 32 15-centimeter pieces. All right. So I've got my wire cutter. I'm going to unhook it. This part here is like scissors. This part here makes a little hole, and that's going to help us take off the wire that we need. Right now, we're going to just use that little scissors part. We're going to take our ruler, and we'll measure out 15 centimeters on our centimeter ruler. Start at 0, roll down to 15. Okay. So you're looking, it's about 6 inches. If you don't have a ruler, dollar bill, the length of a dollar bill is also 6 inches. I am going to cut 32 of these, or 34, should you have that many students in your class. So we're going to cut all those and set them down until they all get cut. You might want to pause here until you have your 15-centimeter wires. It's the red 20 gauge wire. You might want to pause until you get all those cut. Great, now that you have them all cut, you cut so fast. We're going to take our wire stripper and we need to make a little bit of an adjustment to it, okay? There, it has this little screw on the handle that you may notice, okay? So this screw here, it's actually adjustable, all right? So it's going to slide back and forth. Now, I personally don't have a screwdriver in my purse, so I am going to just use my scissors just make that loose. Okay, slidable. And I want to put it pretty much in the middle of that slide. I'm going to put it in the middle of the slide, hold it with my thumb, and just tighten it back up. Doesn't have to be super tight. Okay. So now what's going to happen is when the stripper closes, it could be a little bit further so that my wire stripper isn't going to cut through. We want to make sure you can see a little bit of sunlight when you close your wire stripper. You want to be able to see just a tiny bit of light. You can push that right up to where it is. Okay, so it's actually more like at a third, not a half. Tighten that back up again. Great. Yeah, so now I can see a little bit of sunlight peeking through that little top hole part there. I am going to take my wire, look back in my investigation guide, and I need to strip 1 centimeter of insulation off of this. So I'm going to go put it in that little tiny hole part, and I'm going to go twist, 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 twist. Now it's cut through the insulation, pull, and it just pops right off. I need to do that to the other end, about 1 centimeter, putting it in that little hole part, twist, 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 pull, pops right off. I'm going to do that to all 32 or 34, however many pieces that we have. And I will wait for you to do that. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Okay, so now that I have all my wires stripped, I need to make a way to store these so that way I'm not going to, be losing them or getting them all mixed up or dropped or anything, because now I never have to do that again. I'm going to reuse these for at least 7 years. I'll never have to make them again, and they're ready to go. We can just grab and go. We can tell our students, hey, go over there in the drawer and please get out the 20 gauge red wire. I'm going to take one of my wires and act like a twisty tie. Just tie around it, wrap it around a couple times, and now it's all grouped together in there. Don't worry, the kids are going to bend the heck out of these in all kinds of crazy shapes as they try to get their light bulb to light. So they're very hardy. And I'm going to put this back in my drawer or over at my prep table until we're ready to use it. I'm going to take my red wire, also put it, return it back into drawer 7 so that I know exactly where that is. All right, so I've got those all set. We're going to take a look. We've read everything else to present. When I look on the next page, it says guiding the investigation. Okay. What's really nice is if I'm not super knowledgeable about circuitry, like I said, I'm not an electrician, all of these nice little blue arrows provide you with exactly what to say to guide that discussion that your students are going to have. Okay. And so we're just going to guide through there. Where do we stop? If you look on your pacing guide, again, that's in your standards, that pacing guide will show you exactly what you're doing for those steps. Please remember your first lesson, not in here. It's setting up those classroom agreements for figuring out. I'm going to continue until I find investigation 1, part 2. So investigations are not just one lesson. They're sometimes 1 part, 2 parts, or 3 parts. It's part 2, and you can see we have a new materials page. So let's see if there's anything intensive that we need to prep for this materials page. And what we're going to need to prep for this is just, we're going to need to just take stuff out and pop it in there. All right, so I'm going to get those set ready. Set up for what we need to set up is going to be these motors right here. So we need to get these motors out and get them set up. To do that, we're going to need the masking tape and we're going to need the motors. The masking tape I know is a consumable. I'm going to go straight to drawer 8 to get that. Okay, so masking tape, drawer 8. And then I've got to get the motor. So I'm reading here, motors, drawer 6. Write that down in my investigation guide. Motors, cool stuff. Off to the left. Motors. They look like this. The nice thing is everything's got a tab on it. It'll say motors. We're going to take these out. There's 9 of them. We're going to pull out those motors. Get them out of these sweet little bags. I found these bags are nice to keep the wires in, so don't lose the bags. And it doesn't look like there's much to it, but actually that's kind of tucked in there. Look at that. If you pull it out, oh, there's those contact points for the wires. We're working on the spindle right here, this spindle. What we're going to do is take these little tiny pieces of tape. You'll need 9 of them. I'm going to lay those out for you. We're going to wrap it right around the spindle. Put it in the middle there of the spindle, just like that. And then we're going to close it and fold it in half around the spindle. Let's make sure it's not on the actual motor, just that spindle. You might want to really squeeze it on there. Okay. Now what's really cool is when it works, this is like a little flag that's going to fly around. So you're going to do that 9 times. When you're done, we're going to put it back in the bag. And we're going to put it back in the drawer because we do not need this until the end of September, but you're going to have it all ready. You can just tell your helper to take them out. You might want to pause here, finish putting all of those bits of tape on your motor, and put them back in the drawer. The next part that we're going to have to prep is going to be another set of wires. All right. And so these wires are the different gauge of wires. These are the 24 gauge. So they're going to be thinner. We're going to get those out of drawer 6 wire, 24 gauge. Very nice. It's yellow. So I've got the yellow wires. You can see it's thinner. We will reuse those red wires as well and then add to a couple other things. So we're going to make some nice yellow wires for us. These are going to be long, okay? So we're actually going to make these pretty darn long. Right? They are 130 centimeters. So to get 130 centimeters, I do like this, 30, wrap it around the back of the ruler. Now I've got 60. Now I've got 90. And then I'm just going to go 10, 20, 30. There we go. Okay. And then I cut it with my wire cutter. And now I have one nice long template, so I don't have to keep measuring. I'm going to make one of these for each group. So we'll cut 9 of those, nice long ones. Pause while you cut those 9, and then come back. Okay, now that I have mine, I'm going to go ahead and strip my 24 gauge yellow wire. Same thing, we're going to take our wire stripper. We're going to do 2 centimeters here. So that's like about my thumb, right? We're going to do 2 centimeters in. Same thing, twist, 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 and it just pops right off. Okay, so we're going to do that to both ends of all of our wires. Might want to pause while you do that, and then come back and we'll do our last prep. So what I've done now is I have wound up my wires so they don't get tangled. I kept one of those little motor bags. Pop that right in there so that way I can put it back into our drawer And that way I don't have to worry about finding those, and my helper can find them right away. So I'm going to take the spool and I'm going to take the wires. We're going to put them right back in that drawer. Drawer 6 is 24 gauge. It's kind of nice. They put the white, red, yellow wire here and the red wire in here so they don't get mixed up. All right, you are going to need to cut some additional wire lengths as well for the red wire. So you'll just do that, that longer amount, and that way you're all set. So this one of the 20 gauge, this is going to be 30 centimeters. That's about 1 foot. All right. And so again, each group will need 30 centimeters of these wires stripped and then placed in a separate bag. Okay. All right. So once you've got that part done, I just want to point out something else. When you're looking for the thing that says the rivets and the washers to make this cool electric magnet, it actually says rivets and grommets. You do have the right thing. No worries there. And wanted to point out that you're going to switch over to light. And then when you're looking at light, you'll have mirrors. You'll need to peel the plastic off the mirrors gently so the mirrors are ready. They put them there so they don't get scratched. And when you're looking for what's called a mirror clip, look at these funky little white things that are in there, and they hold up the students' mirrors. Once you have all of those things prepped, the only other thing to do is just to, get things prepped that you'll need for actual instruction. And to do that, you'll take a look through here for anything that says English language support. It's in yellow. You'll be able to write down any sentence frames. So the first ones that we need for our first lesson, which will be first, next, oops, I'll get that one later. Then, if your students need more support, you'll find in the marginalia some longer sentence frames to really help support them. You'll have those with your word wall all set and ready to go. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. You can also set up a coaching or support spot at calendly.com/SDadless. We hope you found this very informative. Please contact us for any help and have fun teaching science with your students. Take care.